Moodles. After watching some of the gameplay yesterday, Moodles, I have to say, I was expecting Air Green to put up a competition against these guys, and these guys made Air Green look like I could take them on.
Yeah, it was definitely a shock. I mean, if you listen to the official Trackmania casting that was going on, like they were talking about it, like they were saying that they didn't expect a whole lot of mistakes from both teams, and it was gonna become like at least like a close up match. Damascus, man, they put the pedal down to the floorboards and they did not let up the entire time. I mean, it was very impressive. I mean, that's the round that Neil put up that PB. I mean, it was just unreal to watch.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear, for anyone who doesn't understand how good DG is, Manox actually used to have the world record on like multiple maps on that match. So just letting you know, you took down a Titan, and not every day you can say I took down a Titan. So good for DG to pull that off. I mean, they're probably the best American drivers, maybe even the best North American drivers, besides of course Carl Jr., who's Carl Jr. And then
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot to it. But we're gonna be moving on into our first map here, which is reps. The identity is all about being able to jump on pretty skinny bars. Not too hard of an identity, but the faster you are, the harder that identity becomes. And these boys will be driving quickly. Nixotica in first place, Stokine, excuse me, that was a different person. Stokine is trying to battle, get into that second place, at least defend the ace against DG, but Neil doing a good job getting up and creeping up. Now it comes down to the risk. Stokine and Neil end up doing a little bit of a drift there, and that's going to be an ace to start off the playoffs day.
Now, randomized, if you don't mind explaining to people that may not understand the whole Trackmania point system, because you say like things like Ace, like how does a point system work as these guys are competing on these tracks?
Yeah, so TMWT and Nadeo, they decided to change it up a little bit. And basically the way the score system works here is that if you get an ace, which means, let's say, what we just saw last round, Damascus Gaming comes in first and second, you will be rewarded 3 points and your opponents will be rewarded 0 points. A victory is when your team gets first and third, where you will get 2 points and the opposing team will get 1 point. And then a draw is when your team gets first and fourth or second and third, and both teams are rewarded 1 point. So it really comes down to both of your team, like both of your players need to be playing at peak performance. You can't just have this one player kind of falling behind or anything if you really need to take the lead. Right now, DG up 3-0. So Air 300 can not really afford to get anything less than a victory for a little while, because getting this start is really crazy. Oh, Nixotica ends up clipping a little bit, but still makes it work out for him. Another ace in the book for Damascus Gaming. Now, it only goes up to 10 points, and if both teams somehow land on 10 points in the same round, we'll go into overtime, which will be best of one. So it just takes that one team to get a victory or an ace to complete overtime. So really good start coming out of DG, making Air 300 look like they're a piece of cake. Coming down into the hill, Nixotica and Neil both up and ahead. Doing a really good job controlling their SDs and making sure that they do not go into that gear 5, but Nixotica ends up touching a little bit, and both Stokine and Timmy are creeping up. Nixotica is going to be trying to battle and not allow the draw to happen. Neil holding up in the front. Neil just needs to make sure that he plays safe enough to not end up risking that first place. He has a little bit over 0.5 second lead, so he has a bit of room to slow down if he needs to line up that jump. But Neil, knowing him, won't do that, and Nixotica will be following in second place, looking to deny a victory. Nicely done in the jump into the identity of the bars and reps, and both of them will take that. We have track point 9-0. At this point, Air cannot do anything lower than an ace. They can't get a victory. They cannot get a tie or a draw. They must get both players across that finish line before Neil and Nixotica. But seeing how this is going, it's pretty clear that these boys are going to walk away with this one. Knocking on wood, of course.
Of course. I mean, and this, by the way, like I said yesterday, and as Randomized just said, like these teams that we're facing, like these are top level players. Like this is not easy what these guys are doing, but it just goes to show the level of caliber that Exotic and Neil are. I mean, just to consistently make these maps look like they're a breeze to run through. I mean, when you play this game, you'll understand very quickly that this is not easy to do, but they just make it look so easy.
I'll give you a quick example of how hard it is. Let's check out Zimmy, how far back he is, and how the boys are just starting to keep pushing away from Zimmy. Zimmy 0.8 away, and if you're looking at that live ranking, those seconds you see are based off the first player, not the player in front of them, but the first player. So Zimmy is almost a full second behind Neil right now. These boys are making it look easy, and Exotica and Neil go through that, and Exotica ends up doing a little bit of a clip, but it works out for them. A quick 12-0 going in the hands of Damascus Gaming.
Man, talk about making it look easy. 12-0, another quadruple ace. They just keep pulling these off.
I mean, I love the boys over at Air 300. I mean, I'm from Team Air. A lot of teams that don't have orgs tend to just be in like these big groups. That's why pretty much majority of the NCSA region are Air players, and we just all picked a color and went with it. But you know, Air 300 is a mix of 300 and Air. Zimmy from Air, Stokine from 300, both awesome people. But I mean, you're going against Damascus Gaming. The Air 300 came in through the losers bracket, while Damascus Gaming literally played 2 matches, and you guys essentially just played 6 maps yesterday and then went to bed. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that again today. So we'll see. But here we are. We're on Freestyle, the second map. This one was picked by Air 300. When you're versing a really good team, I wouldn't be surprised if you pick Freestyle, because the identity of this map is just so difficult to pull off. It's something you don't normally see in the middle of a race. The identity is more of when you're playing like a trial on RPG, a tricky little identity. But here we go. We're lining up for this. You cannot lose a lot of speed in that drift. Exotica and Neil both lining up for the identity, getting up high in that dirt that just gives you enough grip. Both able to get over that ramp, and you saw Zimmy right behind them, and a nice ace to start off on this map as well.
I mean, when you play this game and you see them pull off an identity like that, I mean, I don't know about you, Randomized, but I'd be struggling. I probably wouldn't be able to finish this map, let alone get a time on it.
You know, I will say, for someone like me, right, this is probably my favorite map, excluding the identity. I actually had a time that could have contested for, like, top 50 in the world. I had the most insane time ever. I still have that replay. And then the identity just ate me up. That's how hard the identity is. Maybe I'll explain it as we get there, but here we come into the half pipe. Half pipes are tricky, and you'll see that a lot in TMWT. It's actually pretty hated by the Trackmania community. A lot of people don't like half pipes. They're tricky. It's weird. You can pretty much change the dynamic of how everyone's playing depending on the half pipe. We're coming on to the dirt. The dirt gives you enough grip to be able to turn up. You got to get up to the top there, almost pointing 90 degrees straight up. And then right as you're about to go over the sign where there is no grip, they have to flick their car over to the left. See Zimmy trying to do it here, lining up here, flick to the left, and lands nicely there. But unfortunately, probably had to get a reset going. So another ace under DG. Now, these guys are completing it first try every time. But like I said, these are not easy identities. So at any point, even though Neil and Exotica are doing amazing, they could slip on it. It's just, it comes down to it. But in all retrospect, when you know you're going against a team that has better PBs or personal times than you or anything like that, sometimes it's not the worst call to go for a harder map that even you may personally not be able to pull off, just because there's a chance that you may one-shot it and one of the better players may not. So we'll see. So far in Exotica and Neil, knocking on wood, they've been doing an amazing in the identity, as well as keeping low airtime into that half pipe. Exotica has a lot of speed, being the dirt player that he is, knowing how to drive in dirt. Of course, will just gain speed. Coming down the hill here, you need to try to keep as much speed as you can going around that little donut. Line up nicely, and Exotica and Neil both have some height. And Exotica ends up clipping a little bit, but it looks like Zimmy and Stokine were both not able to complete that one at all, and that's going to be another ace where they were able to complete it last second, but +2, almost +3. Yeah, no, they definitely failed it at least one time.
Yeah. I mean, this goes to show you too, like Exotic keeping a cool head. Like even though like he made like that small like clip, he was able to recover very quickly and just get across that line.
It's very important to be able to pull off something like that. You know, right now they're probably chilling and relaxing. They don't have a lot of pressure going on them, so that's why it's easy to pull that off. But in a much higher stake moment where you know this other team is putting up a fight against you, it can be pretty rough to keep your head cool while going through these really tough identities. I mean, Exotica has plenty of practice of it. He was in Challengers over a year ago. He knows what it's like to play in these really tough maps and in a high pressure state. Neil has played in countless of smaller competitions, so nothing too big of a deal for either of these players as they line up again for the identity. Exotica lines up a little bit earlier. Neil ends up bumping that one, but anyway, that's another ace and another 12-0.
Let's go, DG.
So we're going to be moving on to our third track, which I believe is Slippy Slides, picked by DG, if I remember correctly.
I believe you're right on that.
Oh, slow down. That's what I meant, slow down. I know my notes. It happens so quick that I have to just write stuff, and I like have an SDGGBLB, you know, XYZ like written somewhere here.
This is a map yesterday that DG looked solid on the entire time. I mean, they definitely know how to run this track. They've been doing it a lot, and they love playing it, and you can tell because they run outstanding lines.
Oh, by the way, everyone, keep an eye out. There's a little Easter egg that was not supposed to be on this map, and I'll tell you when you'll see it, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll spot it the next time. Good start for the players coming into the dirt, and Exotica with a good line here coming out. And here comes the Easter egg right there. Did you see it? Did you see it? Probably not, but you will damn well crash into it. Unfortunately, one of the firecrackers, or the little sparklers, is in the middle of the freaking road, and it was never fixed. Anywho, coming around the loop. Nice hairpin turn by both Exotica and Neil. Zimmy not too far. Stokine not too far. Zimmy, fortunately, is falling pretty far back into the identity. Neil ends up taking air. Luckily, lands softly and does not get hurt. And if you didn't notice, they drove over a brown tile. That is a fragile tile. And if they crash into anything or take too much air and land too hard, that your car will start wobbling. As you can see right here, Stokine cannot get up the identity. He must have taken too much damage here. And yeah, at that point, you're pretty much stuck in the mud. So, good start for the boys. 3-0 ace. Again, they have just been acing all day. We're going to see any life coming out of Air 300. They need to start pushing a little bit harder. But just so you guys can see it, a little firecracker, just chilling right here. Little firecracker, nothing else. Yeah, it's there. I think we have plenty of time to check out where that firecracker was. And yes, you can unfortunately hit it. The top of your car can smack into that one, and in your entire run. Now, mind you, there's a thing that a lot of people talk about in Trackmania and in all racer games in total, and that is the optimal line. That firecracker is out of your optimal line, but you never know. Oh no, Neil ends up bumping, but didn't take any damage in that fragile block. He has to be careful here. Stokine falls behind, unfortunately. And that's going to be another one in there. Zimmy and Stokine are just looking to have any life they can in this one. 6-0. This is probably one of the fastest ones I have seen, honestly. I again, I didn't really get to see much of the games. Unfortunately, we didn't have the VODs. Hopefully, the VODs are up and good for today. But who the heck is that lagging? Is that Exotica? He doing the lag dance?
It's Neil. I think that was Neil. I just watched Shield all over the place on that one.
I don't know. Someone was doing the lag dance. Oh. Fortunately, I believe that was Zimmy who clipped the wall. So he's going to be out of there. Stokine now finally showing some life for Air 300. Needs to hold his second position and finally break the curse of the aces. We only have so many aces in the deck, and we're running out of them. We've actually ran out of them. I've already bought 3 other decks just so we can have more aces. Love to see a little bit of competition out of Air 300 as an air guy myself, but unfortunately, went over the fragile. Oh, Neil could not get a good drift. Had to bail out of that one, but did a good job. Otherwise, he would have to take some air time. Really damaged his car, but gets past Stokine and is able to get in there. That's another ace. Stokine had a moment, and unfortunately, just gets robbed at that last second.
He was fighting hard on that one. He did not want to let that position go, but Neil came up quick.
I mean, the thing is, I'm never really that surprised when it comes to a team that picks a map and does really good on it. It's their map. It's the map they wanted. So to see a 12-0 ace all across the board on this map, as Damascus Gaming did pick this one, but a little bit of life from Air 300. Would love to see it. It is not looking good. Finally, Stokine is in the fight. He is starting to show some life here. Zimmy just a little bit too far behind. Nicely done around that hairpin. Neil's getting out of there, and Exotica also following up. 2 players pretty much are just racing themselves at this point. They're probably just telling each other, like, haha, you suck, I beat you. Neil coming around the break this time was able to catch that pocket and push himself up real quick. Both of them doing a good job drifting through this one. Going a little low to get a little bit of that speed coming up that hill. And that's it. It is 3-0 in this best of 7.
And they're just showing how much skill they have to just constantly do this over and over and over again. And for, I mean, those of you that don't know, like, I mean, Trackmania has an extremely complicated control setup. You can go left, you can go right, you can go front, you can back and brake.
I was so confused for a second. I was like, wait, is there more?
It's a very simple game to pick up. It is actually not that hard to understand how to play it, but man, mastering this game, the level of skill that these players are at, man, it just makes it fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this game is that it's a simple control. It's easy to pick up, hard to master. There's a lot of terms that are going on, like right here, for example. These guys are doing what's called a no slide into the turn. They're trying not to eat their gear in the dirt because you can't gear up or down while turning. Otherwise, you will lose speed. So things like that, you would never know just picking up this game, but it's a lot of that's going on right now. Ooh, Exotica and Neil take the lead right out of that one, and they go over the no break block into the reset. And here we go, going into the ice strips. They're going to drift a little bit more than they want to, and you're going to slide out a tiny bit, and that's going to let you get that turn easier. And Exotica is going to use a bit of a bug slide. That's when your car actually slides faster thanks to dirt and ice. Mechanics getting a little mixed up. Going into the identity here, a gyroscope. They both go for the 360 style of the identity, the proper way of it being done, and go in. Neither of them risked the trickier way of going through that identity, and we'll see maybe if one of the two will pull it off if they need to. But say it with me, folks. We got another ace.
Man, I love watching Gyroscope, man. Just watching that finish every single time, it never gets old.
What the heck did I write in my notes? I had to look over my notes for a second because I was very confused about what I did. But either way, this fortunately, these new blocks that were added, the bobsled loop. Why Nadeo thought it was a good idea to have this in there, nobody knows, but you know what? They still make it look like it's easy. I'm telling you right now, it is not. Going into the NASCAR part here, no braking. Nicely done. Stokine actually showing a little bit of life here for Air 300. Stokine battling Exotica up in front, trying to deny another ace. They're tired of seeing those words. We may even be able to see a draw if Stokine can hold the lead. And Exotica and Neil looking to probably communicate. Let's see if either of them are going to go for the riskier gyroscope. Neil is the one going for it, and so is Exotica. They both go for the risky strap, but Neil ends up crashing out, and Exotica able to get in there and take that one. Zimmy still nowhere to be seen. And just to kind of explain this one, because this one may look a little bit weird compared to, like, some identities are easy to pick up. The idea of what's going on is that the boosts are pointing in the opposite direction. So if the car is pointing backwards or the same direction as the boost, it won't affect you as much and let you go back. But unfortunately, if you're pointing directly at the boost that's pointing it the wrong way, you get pushed pretty far. Like, you end up stopping unless you have a lot of speed. So the boys are essentially supposed to make a little 360 like a gyroscope, and then the boost won't push them that far away. But there is a little bit of a strat that if your car is pointed in a bit of a certain angle, not going to get too into detail, you can actually make it through there while still having your car point forward at a lot of speed.
Dude, Stokine has got some life in him now. He's really fighting hard to take that first push from Exotica. He's really putting pressure. You can see it.
I mean, this is their map pick. The Air 300 did decide to pick this one. So the fact that we finally got a point after 4 maps. Ooh, Neil goes for this trick right there. Oh, but slides out on the bug slide. Just like that, Neil goes down. Yep. We have our first draw. Air 360, excuse me. Showing some life out there. 6-2. That's right now. I mean, maybe this is the comeback of the season that people are talking about in chat.
It could be. I mean, this is the time to do it. I mean, Air 300, they have no mistakes that they can make right now. Like, this is do or die.
Right into the loop here. Neil is going to be fighting to take that first place back as Zimmy now showing some life in this entire match. Oh, into the NASCAR. Right as I say that, passed or cursed. Unfortunately, Zimmy will clip into that wall and fall behind. Over 2 seconds for both players. As Neil and Exotica are probably just going to go right into this identity again, do the little 360 gyroscope, and walk away with a 9-2. We'll see if maybe either one of them, for some reason, decide to risk. Nope. Nice, easy identity. Not that hard of an identity. A little tricky to pick up if you're first getting into the game, but after a while, you start to feel that rhythm and that pattern, and it becomes very easy. So 9-2, track point, match point. Air 300 cannot let anything but an ace happen at this point. Otherwise, DG is going to just run away with this one. Starting off in this the dirt. I'm hungry. Starting off in the dirt. A little bit of a drift. You try not to drift. One of the essential rules for you new Trackmania players is only drift as much as you need to. And that's exactly what those guys did, tapping away at the drifts. Go into that dirt. They're going to turn a little sharp and then snap back so that they can go straight forward and get more speed. And Exotica and Neil, again, defending the front half. Neil went a little low there, but able to recover that one. Exotica ends up sliding a little bit too hard, but both players recover from that. Neil almost slid out into the cactus, but thankfully that didn't happen. Right into that checkpoint. Easy win for them. They're going, oh, nice little car show going. Exotica ends up bumping at the end, but that was pretty cool synchronization for the stream for y'all, folks. Clip that if you're in the Twitch chat. That was beautiful to watch.
Ooh, man. All the love to Air 300, man. They came out, but, man, DG is just... When you have players like Neil and Exotica, there's just not much you can do. These players are just so phenomenal. We are just so happy to have them as a part of Damascus Gaming. Watching them race is just... It's a pleasure every time. You guys want to put on a show, and they do it every single time.
Yep, so... Pretty much an easy win for the boys, and with that, Air 300 is eliminated, I believe, if I remember correctly. Today is just a single elimination.